Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And coming up on this edition of the State of the Saints podcast, we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk a little bit about Tyrann Mathieu retiring, Dallin Holger retiring, Jimmy Graham retiring, and Saints training camp will be underway on Wednesday. And also, if you can remember a grown up when you were young yelling out, "Why is the phone bill so high?" because you spent about $20 purchasing music on this network, then you know where I'm at.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I got to say is, who that? Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, man, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of things happened on Tuesday pertaining to the New Orleans Saints. It started off with the Saints releasing their brand new, well, I wouldn't call them brand new, but they brought back the gold jerseys, which was really exciting to some Saints fans. But something that wasn't as exciting was the announcement of Tyrann Mathieu, a safety who has played in the NFL for 12 seasons, has decided to call it a day. All right, he retired from the National Football League and kind of shocked a lot of people. You know, some people felt that maybe Tyrann Mathieu would give it another shot in 2025, but a lot of things going on in his personal life that probably, helped him to come to this decision. The New Orleans Saints got a heads up on it a couple of days before he announced his retirement. But, I just want to say Tyrann Mathieu was a pleasure to watch. This is a guy that I watched his entire football career, like from the time he was at St. Aug, time he was at LSU, when he went to Arizona, got drafted in the fourth round and became a really good football player there, and also just kind of came and bounced around the league a little bit with the Texans, won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, and finally came back home to finish his career with the New Orleans Saints. I think his career pretty much came full circle. Look, if you've been following Tyrann Mathieu's career, you already know there's that old famous poem by Langston Hughes. He said, "Life to me ain't been no crystal stair," and it was not. All right, especially in the beginning of Tyrann Mathieu's career. There was a lot of things that that he did. It showed a little bit of immaturity. And he made a lot of mistakes, which we all do. Right, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's walking the earth's surface is perfect. But he was able to win back a lot of people. He won back a lot of fans. A lot of things that were going on in his personal life. He changed. He talks about his relationship with Patrick Peterson, a legendary LSU player and legendary player in his own right, future Hall of Famer. How he helped him and was a mentor to him. But Tyrann Mathieu was able to resurrect his career and resurrect his life. And when you have a guy that's willing to put the work in, work hard on the field and off the field to be a better athlete and also a better person, you can applaud him. So on this edition, I applaud the career of Tyrann Mathieu. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do outside of football. I know it's going to be great. I know he's going to do amazing things in the community, no matter where he plants his feet. So congratulations to you, Honey Badger, on a hell of a career. Definitely as a Hall of Famer. He was a part of all-decade team, multi-time All-Pro, multi-time Pro Bowler, and you can't write the history of the safety position without mentioning him. So he will be a Hall of Famer. Now, first ballot, I don't know. All right, y'all know how it goes sometimes. Sometimes those Hall of Fame selections can be a little weird, but he will be in a Hall of Fame, no doubt about that, man. Congratulations on an amazing career, Tyrann Honey Badger Mathieu. All right, but yeah, man. But the day started off with the Saints coming out with the gold jerseys. This is something that Cam Jordan has been lobbying for years, wanting to see the gold jersey come back, and he got his wish, man. The gold jerseys are back. I'm kind of on the fence when it comes to it. Uh, they look more khaki to me, and I don't like that helmet. I do not. I do not like that helmet. I don't know why they trying to make that helmet work. It just don't work, right? I think that maybe if you put like a gold stripe, kind of similar to what you have with your color rush jerseys, and maybe a stripe, or maybe even if you want to go all gold, you know what I'm saying? Like, how the Saints have the black and the gold, they wear the gold pants. I mean, if you want to do something like that, but I'm just not truly feeling it right away. I mean, it's cool that the New Orleans Saints are trying something different. I will applaud them for that, but I'm just not. I ain't feeling it, man. I guess it's like a pair of shoes, right? You know how you can put on a pair of shoes, they're a little tighter, maybe. You just gotta wear them in a little bit, and it's probably what it is, man. But I'm just not. I guess because all they talk about the helmet and how how we weren't fans of the helmet, and now they come back with the gold jerseys. It just kind of, yeah, I don't know. But at least they're trying to do something different, or bringing something back, bringing a little bit of nostalgia back. I don't have an issue with that at all. I definitely want to get that white helmet. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I definitely want to get that somewhere in his office and place it there. But I just think that I respect the Saints for trying to do something different. That they know that Saints fans want to see something different. We're going to talk a little bit more about Saints training camp as it gets underway. We talked on last episode about Tyler Shuck getting his contract. We also, discussed like some of the things we're looking forward to for training camp. But you have Mickey Loomis, the general manager of the New Orleans Saints, and also Kellen Moore spoke with the media on Tuesday. So we're going to be talking about that, and I'll be answering some of your questions, of course. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. I ain't gonna waste nobody's time. Matt Drummer says Mathieu has did the Lord's work for us football fans. He deserves his retirement, but how I wanted to see him this year. Well, look, I mean, I think that we all got what we wanted as far as having Tyrann Mathieu as a member of the New Orleans Saints organization, him being from the city, him being a true New Orleanian, right? Grew up in a city, embedded in the very fabric of the Crescent City. So he gave it his all, man. He was out there doing the best that he possibly could. Was he the Tyrann Mathieu that we seen terrorize the league in his youthful days? Probably not. But he was a leader where the Saints needed a leader on defense. He was able to generate some turnovers. And also, he was a really good mentor to some of those young players. I mean, when he retired, you had a lot of these young players that have been around him for the last couple of years. Like Jordan Howden, spoke very highly about how he helped him to become a pro and how he was able to acclimate from coming out of Minnesota to the NFL because of Tyrann Mathieu and his leadership. So I think his leadership and his presence will be missed most of all. But, the New Orleans Saints have been looking at turning the page. And this is just another pillar that has fallen that has been a part of this team for the last couple of years. But, this is why the New Orleans Saints have to continue to try to build this team through the draft and bring in some young, solid players that can contribute, because Tyrann Mathieu's presence is going to be missed. So that is two individuals that you have lost this offseason that are mostly responsible for the turnovers in the secondary. You already lost Paulson Adebo to the Giants and also Tyrann Mathieu. So the Saints are going to have to find someone or a couple of players that are going to be able to pick up the slack that those guys left behind, getting the ball back to the offense. They said he just had another child, so that probably did it. Yeah, I seen that report. Shouts out to Nick Underhill. I believe he was the first person to mention that. Credit to him. But yeah, man, I mean, when you start to have kids and it trying to put life into perspective. Some of the things that you valued in your younger life, they're not as important. And he set himself up, man. He set himself up good. He shouldn't have to worry about money or anything like that. And you want to be around your kids, man. You want to see them grow up, and you want to make sure that you're at some of their biggest moments, right? You don't want to just have football just interfere if you can help it, right? Some guys have kids young into their career, probably when they fresh out of college, and you're just trying to build a life for them. But then when you start to establish yourself or have established yourself, you probably want to take a look at your family and want to be there for them. So it was his decision. I ain't mad at it, especially being a family man, a man that's been married for almost 5 years, and I have a son that's very, very important to me, which a lot of you know. So I definitely don't want to put anything before them, no doubt about that. Facts Badger definitely changed and became an NFL legend, model player. Yeah, man, and I don't want to get into all of the things that had taken place, especially like in his sophomore year. Everybody knows like he was up for the Heisman, and I mean, and it could have easily went in the opposite direction. So credit to him, like changing his life. Like to me, Tyrann Mathieu's story is just bigger than football. Like I think that Tyrann Mathieu's life needs to be in a biopic. Like like a lot of guys who go through the hardships and the trials and tribulations that he did, they don't come out on the other side. I could think about like so many different players who have been their own worst enemy and they just couldn't get out their way. Like one guy in particular, like Lawrence Phillips. Lawrence Phillips was an incredibly talented running back coming out of Nebraska. He was a really talented running back in the league, but he just could not get out of his own way. And I can name so many others. But Tyrann Mathieu learned from his mistakes and he changed his life. Like I said, it's bigger than football to me, man. This guy is a champion in football and he's a champion in life. I mean, it don't get no better than that. What a great redemption story, a redemption story that if you know somebody or somebody that's going through like a hard time trying to figure it out, you can look at Tyrann Mathieu and be like, man, this man completely turned his life around. I mean, he can provide hope for a lot of people for years to come. TJ the Honey Badger will go down as a legend. I still like our safety room. It's about the youngest nowadays, TJ. I agree, man. I think that it has a lot to do with this youth movement, and I like it. I like it, and this leads me to our next topic when we're talking about the press conferences that took place on Tuesday. If you're watching this live, tonight we're still officially Tuesday, but so I guess I can say this afternoon. You had Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore spoke to the media, and I know a lot of people give Mickey Loomis a lot of like a lot of flack. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to like things that he does, the way that he operates, the patience of Job sometimes to his detriment. I mean, I'm one of those people, but I'm just being honest. Like, he has he has said some things that have really ticked a lot of members of the Who That Nation off. But I must say, the fact that he went to the podium on Tuesday and basically was not absolutely delusional about the state of the Saints, no pun intended, was a little bit refreshing. Like this is the first time I have actually seen Mickey Loomis speak to the media, and I felt like he understands where the Saints are right now. He understands that it's a rebuilding process. He even mentioned the Detroit Lions when Dan Campbell first got there. See, we talk about the prosperity of the Detroit Lions and we want our team as of right now to look like the Lions, but we don't remember when Dan Campbell, well, I do because I gave a very ridiculous take saying that Dan Campbell needed to be fired in his first year. Yes, I said that. I mean, I stand on business. If I mention that, I'm going to say it right or wrong. They had a really bad season. I think they won their first game like real late into the season, man. And they went from that to their second year, them knocking out the Green Bay Packers for playoff contention. And then for the last 2 years, they've been one of the best teams in football. And for Mickey Loomis to mention that maybe the Saints could possibly be going through some hardships, is refreshing to me because he's not blowing smoke up the behinds up the Who That Nation and making and giving them false hope. Like this is what I've been telling people for the last few weeks. Like it is probably best if you just have a even kill like mind frame when it comes to this team. Like don't think that they're going to be the worst team in the league, but if they don't go out here like winning 12 and 13 games, it's cool because they're in the process of a rebuild. I just want to see a better version of the team in certain areas, and I'm good because I know it's going to be an uphill battle. You got two young, inexperienced quarterbacks that are battling to be the starter. You no longer have Tyrann Mathieu, the best safety of his generation. So you're going to have to find a way to replace him. Yes, you have Justin Reed, who is a seasoned veteran, but who's going to go opposite of him? I know that people are talking about Blackman, coming in. The Saints spoke to Blackman, the former safety of the Indianapolis Colts. Been a pretty steady guy throughout his career. He's about 26 years old. So maybe the Saints may end up signing him to possibly replace Tyrann Mathieu. Not bad. But at the same time, you still need some young guys that's going to be able to step up. What's going to happen with the secondary? So many unanswered questions. So I just think that having these high expectations or setting yourself up, just to be upset about things that you already know are going to exist. I just feel like that's just wasted energy. Now, if you want to talk about, maybe the New Orleans Saints looking like they did with Dennis Allen, then yes, I would be upset at that. But if I just see, oh man, that guy young, he's trying to make plays, probably next year, he's probably going to make that play. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. You got to understand where you at, man. Like you can't have porterhouse steak dreams with hot dog money. You just can't. That's just the truth. Like having these false like these false thoughts and views about where the Saints are and what they need to be. Like I just feel like that's wasting energy. That's not where they're at right now, and it's okay. Like teams just have to rebuild. But this is something that Saints fans have wanted, and that's where I have like a little bit of a gripe because we have to be very careful that we're not complaining about things that we have asked for. Like a lot of us want change, but we want change to give us instant gratification, and that's just not the case all the time. Like sometimes a change in your life can be extremely beneficial instantly, right? In your life, right? You need a new car, you go to the lot, you get a 2025, guess what? It's going to run better than that 2011 or that 2010 that you got, right? The one that's been breaking down and you have to take to the mechanic shop is going to give you those instant results. But sometimes in life, you got to let this thing marinate. Where my barbecue people at? Where my people that put stuff on the grill, right? You know that you got to let things marinate sometimes. You got to brine that chicken. You got to let that chicken sit in there for 12 to 24 hours. That those barbecue ribs, you got to let them things smoke, right? So they can fall clean off the bone. And yes, nobody likes the process. Like you start smelling them ribs and you like, man, I want to eat them ribs right now. But guess what? The longer you cook them, the better they're going to taste, right? You brine that chicken, to perfection, then guess what? That chicken going to be finger licking good. Sometimes we have to let things marinate, and it's okay. It's okay, man, but sometimes we just have to understand where we are, and we also have to understand that Rome wasn't built in a day, right? I just want to see guys step up, make plays, and look forward to the future. And if the New Orleans Saints exceed our expectations, then guess what? If the Saints end up like going to the playoffs, wild card round, like I mean that's a win. And that also tells us that Kellen Moore is indeed the guy if he can pull this off. But I listen to Mick, I listen to Kellen. Both of these guys understand that guys are going to have to go through hardships. They're going to have to make some mistakes. You had Kellen Moore basically talked about the quarterback, competition where Mickey Loomis threw in Jake Hayner, as the third guy, saying it's a 3-man competition. Okay, all right, okay, all right, whatever. But Kellen Moore talked about how these guys are going to have to make mistakes, right? It's okay. Let's see how you bounce back after adversity, after you throw an interception, right? How you going to bounce back in the next series? That is what he's looking for. That is what makes guys better, by trial and error. Everybody's not going to be Mahomes and come out there just slinging that rock all over the place, or Jaden Daniels. I just feel like outliers sometimes like cloud our judgment about how young quarterbacks are supposed to look in their rookie season, because sometimes you'll have outliers like Jaden Daniels, like Cam Newton, that come along and kind of change their perspective. Even RG3, right, had amazing rookie seasons, changed their perspective about the quarterback position, and guess what? Now all of a sudden, like, we looking at these guys completely different. But it doesn't always work that way, man. Sometimes guys have to go through trial and error in order for them to get better, and it's okay. Holker was a surprise, especially being in the league for 2 seasons. Yeah, man, that's unfortunate right there, man. Let's stop right there, talk a little bit about Dallin Holker. He came out of Colorado State, and I thought that, man, I thought they had a little bit of something with Holker. But he had some injuries. I want to say that he has an ankle injury that's causing him to retire, and that he don't want to retire on his own. Like, he don't want to retire like that. But you have to do what's best for yourself. And it's good that this guy understands that there's life after football. Yes, your dream is to play in the National Football League, and in some cases, you achieved your dream. There were some games he played in. I remember that one catch for 10 yards that he had, and I'm not like throwing shade. I'm just being honest. Like, Sky's done something that a lot of us wish that we could have done. And you can't look back on your life and have regrets, and you also don't want to look back on your life and you get older, you start having kids, and you can't run around the yard with them, or you can't remember like certain things. Like, you don't want to do that, man. That's why I always look at the person versus, the player sometimes, because there's a lot of things behind the scenes, man, we don't even realize that these guys actually go through in order for them to get on the field. So I have nothing but respect. It is official right now, some 35 minutes ago, according to the Indianapolis Colts Sports Illustrated page. Julian Blackmon finds new home with the Saints. The Indianapolis Colts saw a long-time veteran safety leave to replace a former 3-time All-Pro. All right. So it says long-time Indianapolis Colts safety Julian Blackmon has found a new home with the New Orleans Saints following an abrupt retirement of Tyrann Mathieu. This is coming from Ian Rappaport. Says the Saints have found their replacement for the Honey Badger safety Julian Blackmon. So Julian Blackmon is now officially a New Orleans Saint. They have had talks in the offseason, in regards to Julian Blackmon coming to the New Orleans Saints. And, finally, it has happened. It's official, right? But he is 26 years old. He'll be 27 on August 24th. He's 6 feet, 202 pounds. He played college football at Utah back in 2016 alongside former New Orleans Saint Marcus Williams. They both played in the secondary together. He was drafted in 2020 in the 3rd round to the Indianapolis Colts, and he played there from 2020 to 2024. His stat line reads 300 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, 21 pass deflections, 10 interceptions, and 1 defensive touchdown. So this is a very active safety. And if you're going to lose Tyrann Mathieu, you can't replace him because he's one in a million. But if you're going to replace him with somebody, you want to replace him with a veteran and a guy that has made plays in his career like Blackman. So I think this is a good move by the New Orleans Saints. You replace Tyrann Mathieu with a younger veteran safety that could go alongside Justin Reed and be able to give you some results. And and when you're dealing with a team that has a young secondary with corners like Quincy Riley and Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor. I mean, you got to make sure that you have some veteran safeties back there that's going to be able to know where they need to be and make plays. I know that some people mentioned Justin Simmons, as a possible replacement, but this is the best case scenario, getting yourself an active young player. I mean, the name of the game right now is, young, get young players. And the New Orleans Saints are doing that. And if they can get some guys that they drafted to add to this room, then guess what, man? It can be a very, very good, solid season for the New Orleans Saints and some very watchable football. Reed will take Tyrann's spot, and Blackman will take Reed's spot. However they put it, however they decide that they want to put this thing together, I have absolutely no problem with whatsoever. He got some big shoes to fill, though. Yeah, I mean, look, there was some highs and lows. Like for us to sit up here and say that Tyrann Mathieu was the Tyrann Mathieu he was, with the Kansas City Chiefs for the Saints, that's just not true. But him being as knowledgeable and as tough and also a ball hawk, yes, yeah, in that department, yes, I do feel like he has big shoes to fill. And also the leadership, that definitely is huge shoes he has to fill. I think we finally about to get back to a good run defense. I hope so. I hope so. I just want to see how this defense looks. Like, kind of hard for me to assess anything because I don't know what it looks like. The Saints are trying to find, the right rotation of guys up front. That's the reason I feel like they brought in Bullock. That's the reason why they got Divine Godshaw. And some of these other like big body guys that they added to the team. I'm also interested to see how the Saints are going to use Brian Brzee because Brian Brzee looks kind of, he looks smaller, like coming into training camp. It looked like he has lost some weight. And I've been telling people for I don't know how long, the Saints need to try to use Brian Brzee on the edge. Like Brian Brzee has some really good pass rush moves. And it would not surprise me if the New Orleans Saints start utilizing Brian Brzee on the edge and Brian Brzee ends up being the leading sack leader for the New Orleans Saints, the sack leader for the Saints, double-digit sacks. Like I believe Brian Brzee is a guy that can wreak havoc. Like I feel like Brian Brzee could possibly it's going to be tough, to switch, but I feel like he can be that guy that the New Orleans Saints need to be that elite pass rush. Like he has that type of skill set to me. That anybody that athletic from the interior that can be able to get to the quarterback. He had 7.5 sacks last season. So imagine what he can actually get if he's just a part of that NASCAR package rushing the quarterback. Like I want to see that. And it looks like the Saints had that conversation with him because nobody's about to tell me that Brian Brzee doesn't look much smaller than he has over the last couple of years he's been with the Saints. Like I've watched this guy. Like he was kind of heavy set. He walked up in there, he almost looked like he built like Cam Jordan. Maybe like 270, 280. I know it ain't me. People talking about the t-shirt. Like, nah, bro. Nah, he looks much smaller. There's a video that the Saints media put on their X page on Twitter, and they have the players walking into the facility for the first day of training camp. Go and take a look at Brian Brzee and tell me you don't see a difference in his size. Pause. TJ, I need your film report to camp, sending you a playbook, contract details to be announced later. Who that? I wish. Man, my football day is over, man. Like, me talking about football is okay with me. Now, right now, all I'm trying to do is just try to instill some of the little things that I do know into the pack, man. Right? I mean, my boy out there catching these passes, man, looking real good catching them. And he's starting to like football now, man. So that's good enough for me, man. Him loving football and getting into it. it just makes me smile. I'm good. We're just talking Saints and NFL. I'm all right with that. Man, Brian Brzee built like Parsons now in in one offseason. Yeah, I don't know if he that small, but I would say like he around Cam Jordan size. Like Cam Jordan is maybe like 275, 280 or something like that, maybe. You know, he looked like he around that size. I hope defensive linemen secondary going to get more stronger and better than ever. For real, for real. Just like running the crazy train. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Man, all I know is I just want to see this team like get to the quarterback. I just want to see them get the quarterback on the ground. I want to see double-digit sacks from somebody. I want to see this line get active, and I also want to see these guys win a battle of attrition. Like if they do that, then I think that they'll be just fine. Let's see. TJ, I just watched Tyler Shuck interview with Mina Kimes from ESPN, and he was talking about how it's a lot of disguises, and Reed is good at making it look like something it isn't. Um, like I said, man, look, when I look at Tyler Shuck, man, I look at a guy that's extremely confident. I look at a guy that understands, you know, that this is going to be a competition. It isn't shying away from it. I find, Tyler Shuck very refreshing. I don't know if he is going to be the true successor that Saints fans have been looking for, but at least he's approaching it as such. And so is Spencer Rattler. And to me, I just feel like it's a winning combination. I also feel like it's a winning combination, the Saints understanding where they are. And I just think that Saints fans need to get on board as well. I understand it's a very frustrating place to be in when you want your team to thrive and be successful and look like some of these other teams that fan bases are getting excited every single year because they know their team or is knocking at the door of a Super Bowl. But look, the Saints had a really good run, and a lot of the reason why they're not in this situation, they have been in years before where they were winning double-digit games, being in playoff contention, possible Super Bowl contention, is the fact that they drag their feet too long. The fact that they are addressing this situation and are being realistic about it, I think that's the first step, right? They always talk about the 12-step program. The first step is for you to acknowledge that you have a problem. The Saints are acknowledging that they have a problem. So for that, I just think that I appreciate them for going through step one. Now, if we can get through the rest of the steps, I think we'll be on a road to recovery. But right now, I'm just happy that they are not just sitting up there living in an echo chamber on their line. They understand that this is one of those things that they're going to have to roll up their sleeves and it's going to get a little dirty. In the words of Chris Brown on the song Please Don't Judge Me, it's going to get ugly before it gets beautiful. And I also have been saying this, if Shuck of everything more thinks he is, but we have our Bo Nix this year. Well, yeah, I mean, if he ends up being like what Kellen Moore feels he is, then that's a step in the right direction. I mean, Bo Nix went to the playoffs in his first year, and he went against the Buffalo Bills, and he came out there smoking, man. I mean, they scored on the opening drive, and then the Bills realized that they're a better team, and then they just beat the brakes off of them. But at the end of the day, Bo Nix showed like a lot of moxie, and he didn't back down. I mean, if Tyler Shuck can be that guy for the Saints, that's a step in the right direction. I think Loomis is letting Moore do more to get more. I mean, I like how you use, the name Moore, but I agree. I like how he's allowing Kellen Moore to structure the team his way. But, Mickey is also understanding that this is a young coaching staff that's inexperienced. So giving these guys the opportunity to figure this thing out, and Saints fans need to do the same. Even though Kellen Moore is a very bright, offensive-minded coach, he's still young, and this is his first stop. So everything probably won't look perfect, but it seems to me like he has a plan. He surrounded himself with veteran guys that know football, that probably seen more football than he has in his lifetime. and he's not afraid to, delegate work and listen to ideas. I think that's the true definition of a real leader, listening to individuals' ideas and viewpoints, and don't just feel like you have all the answers. If you do that, then I think that you are going to be okay. All right. And we all know that Kellen Moore knows is a process, because my goodness, my man used the words process a lot. All right. It's to a point now I'm gonna have to start calling him Coach Process, right? Because he used the word process a lot. Yeah, like I say, a lot. As my safe word. Process is definitely his word. That gold jersey needs to go with white helmets and white pants, not black. That's country. Well, that's what they decided to do. I'm just not a fan of it. It's going to take some time for me to kind of get into the gold jerseys. All right, read a few more. It says, TJ, I'm thinking I don't know if I want to get that Kool-Aid gold jersey or that AK gold jersey to go with my khaki pants. Man, you going to 35 back in 2000. That khaki on khaki. No, had them students had the male students at 35 looking like they was part of the prison chain game, man. That khaki on khaki. Let's see. Kellen is doing all the work. Brandon Staley finding the players for the scheme. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be what Kellen Moore said, a process. Them boys out there in Dickie khakis with them. Yeah, a lot of people gonna be rocking them khakis. Gonna have them stiff dickies. Yeah, I know them stiff dickies that you can stand up on their own. That's what they're gonna be. That's what y'all gonna be rocking down there in the city. You could tell Coach Moore is locked in. He still smiles, but he's more on point in these interviews lately. Yeah, a lot of people have been praising him for his interviews. They feel like maybe he was just trying to say the right things, but I think he's starting to get acclimated and he's starting to feel like this is becoming his team, because it is. Boy got on them dickies. We gonna take shots every time he says process during the season. No, we not. If we do, they wouldn't have no show. We would not have a show, because everybody, we're gonna have to take a shot of Coke Zero or a shot of water or something, because if we talk about something strong, everybody gonna be on the floor. Because I know for a fact he said process at least about 60 times. I was actually counting in my car as I was driving. I got up to 60. I got up to 60. And then I was like, man, this is ridiculous. He said process 60 times. Like, that's insane. Kellen Moore could go 2-15 the first year capping, but as long as Mr. Sassy Walker gone, I'm good. Man, I'm good. I'm good too. Because, I know that Kellen Moore in for an uphill battle. Dennis Allen, they act like he was Sean Payton 2.0. It was the Raiders' fault. Nah. I wish him good luck in Chicago. I think he's going to have them looking really good defensively, but head coach, he was not. All right. So the backdrop up to the Knights or this episode is, as y'all see, the box. Music television you control. Now, some of you already know about the box. Pause. But at the end of the day, like, here's the thing, right? For those that are young, don't really understand what that is. It was a music channel where you can actually call a 1-800 number, and each video had a code, right? So you dial a number, put the code in, and then they'll lock you in place, and then the video that you select will end up coming up, right? At one time, it was like 99 cents a song. Then it got up to 199. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people end up getting punished. A lot of people end up getting their video games taken away because they order too many videos on the Box Music Network, okay? I can remember my mom punishing me because I thought it would have been funny for me to order Will L. Yankovic, Amish Paradise, right? Just imagine, like, you just get punished and getting your video game taken because you wanted to hear Amish Paradise. But that box was a staple, man, for those that grew up during that time, man. I mean, that was, you sometimes they'll lose you, man. At night, sometimes they'll lose you. Like when people sleep, and then you have the people from across the pond be ordering all them rock videos that I ain't with. Nah, but you'll probably get some Juvenile. Like you'll get some Drew Hill. Like then you'll be trying to call your homeboys who mom and them didn't care. Hey man, can you order this for me, man? Let me hear this. Yeah, the box was that channel, man. Channel 10 down in New Orleans. Those that don't know, Channel 10. TJ, is there a free agent safety that can take the place of Tyrann Mathieu or just as better? Well, the Saints, they end up signing Julian Blackmon about 35 minutes ago. About 35 minutes ago, they end up signing him. So I think Julian Blackmon is a good, solid safety. You're not going to replace Tyrann Mathieu and what he is to a team, but you can find somebody that's going to be, talented and give you something at the safety position that you need. The Box Boy, yes sir. They played the hell out of my posse on Broadway and MC Thick Monroe. Cruising down the street, if it real slow, with the fellas be yelling Morero. Yeah, man. I mean, the box was that channel, man. TJ, where Al is playing live in Wilmington this Friday night. I'm going. Hey, man, look, y'all know Will Al Yankovic used to make all them different parody songs, like Riding Dirty with Chamillionaire. He made the song White and Nerdy. I just thought it was funny. Amish Paradise. He made the parody of course, Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. But what a way to get in trouble, man. I got my Super Nintendo taken away from me because I wanted to hear Amish Paradise. Can't make that stuff up, man. TJ, those box logos got me wanted to call up and order Tupac, Master P, and SWV. I told y'all, man. I said I got something for y'all this episode. Now, the last time, of course, we, unfortunately, it was the untimely death of actor Malcolm Jamal Warner on last episode. So I had him as the backdrop. May he rest in peace. Just sad stuff, man. But I was actually going to use this on last episode, but I thought it was only right that we acknowledge MJW, and so, but yeah, hey man, that was that channel, man. The box was channel 70 or 71 in the city. Not you must have had cable. You must have had cable. My boy had cable. I had no cable. So I used to take like you had the adapter on the back of your TV? Man, I used to take the clothes hanger and stick it into the back of that adapter, right? My boy had cable. Channel 70, that man said 70, 71. Nah, bro. I ain't had no cable. Channel 10. Hey, fat and all that. Y'all remember with your boy, Wild Wayne. Shouts out to Wild Wayne. Legend. Hey, man, Channel 10. The box. Then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when ECW, you know what I'm saying? They used to play like pre-recorded episodes of ECW. Nah, dog. Said the box was 70. The box was channel 10 on my TV. Channel 10 on my TV with the antenna. It was channel 10 on my TV, man. TJ, it's time for a new song. Yeah, man, we got to get some material, though. We got to see how this season unfolds. Channel 10 on my TV, though, y'all, for real, though. See, I ain't had it. Channel 70? The box is a real legendary music, video, rock and roll, pop, R&B. TJ, I was watching so many times on the box, channel 99 on time one. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, man. It bounced around now. It bounced around. Yep. There you go. Cox, channel 10, fat, and all that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, also channel 10. That man, y'all know I'm 38, but I'm telling you, at the time, channel 10 was the box. Cause I remember, man, cause you couldn't really get it. Like, yeah, man, we used to have them big box TVs that were so old. Some of them didn't even have the adapter. They had like little screws on the back of the TV, and you had to buy like this little adapter. And it had like two prongs on each side, and you had to hook them into, the back of the TV, screw it in on each side, and use the antenna. Because channel, like the box, you could, like, your antenna wasn't right, you couldn't use it. Couldn't use it, man. Couldn't use TV, man. Bruh. Hey, man. We came from, like them old folks say, we came from a mighty, mighty long way. I had bootleg cable. Hey, I ain't had that. I ain't had that. Ross, I ain't had that, bruh. I when I used to want to watch like stuff like WCW, Monday Night Raw, like when I wanted to watch that, I had to go by my grandparents' house. Yeah, I had to go by my grandparents' house. Sometimes they were like, "Nah, it's a school night," or sometimes they were like, "Oh, come on, you can watch it, but you got to go to sleep at 10 o'clock." That was just in time to finish watching, wrestling. But yeah, man, that was yeah, I ain't had no cable, man, for a while. Like bruh, regular TV. Regular TV 33. Yeah, man, channel 38, WNOL. That was Fox 38. Had man, bruh. Channel 8 to WVUE. Yeah, man. TJ, I remember me and my freshman year roommate at Southern University were too broke for cable, so the box was all we had till our lazy behinds got jobs. Well, I mean, I don't know, Eugene. I don't know when you went to Southern, man, but man, they ain't give y'all cable. Like I said, my dorm room, we had cable. We didn't have like HBO or nothing, but now I was able to watch like basic cable. TJ, I'm so lost right now because of my age, so I'ma just be quiet and let y'all have y'all moment. Yeah, man. Look, the OGs, they standing up right now. The antenna used to break and ish got one sticking up. Hey, man, we used to use the clothes hangers, man. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, and then if you had like the TV and the antenna, you like used to break off, you used to put the metal clothes hanging inside that thing, be having it hanging there. You put some aluminum foil on that. Man, classic right there, man. Classic growing up in the city, bro. Classic growing up in the city, man. But my final thoughts about all of these things, we're going to get into Saints training camp and all those different stories as they unfold. But congratulations on an incredible career for Tyrann Mathieu. Meh on the gold jerseys. Dallin Holker, salute you, sir. Oh, we didn't mention Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham also announced his retirement. Jimmy Graham, some people would say, is the best tight end in New Orleans Saints history. He definitely, took the league by storm. Him and Drew Brees made magic. The Saints didn't want to pay this man like a wide receiver, so they ended up trading him, which both teams won in the end because he got really good for Seattle, and the Saints got Max Unger, who was a really damn good center for the team. So both teams won, but it was good to see Jimmy Graham come back for one more last hurrah. Don't know why the New Orleans Saints didn't utilize him in the red zone. Man had about 3 catches and 3 touchdowns, and P. Carmichael just standing on the sideline looking lost as a baby bird in tall grass. I'm sorry. It's just the truth, right? But Jimmy Graham was a beast. He was a beast. He was very intense. And, it just seems like he's enjoying his post-football life. I believe he's trying to break some Guinness World Record by rowing across like some area of the world. We know that he likes to fly his own plane. He has his pilot license, and he also has a really good story that about his childhood and him going into the NFL. Basically playing basketball at Miami and coming and to football kind of late into his life, but made a lot of money in the process. So congratulations. He will be in a Ring of Honor according to Mickey Loomis. He definitely deserves to be in a Ring of Honor, Saints Hall of Fame one day, because Jimmy Graham was a beast. All right. But thank y'all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. I ask that everybody going over to the State of the NFL podcast. We got an episode up right now, new episode of that. We're going to be talking about, we're discussing the Dallas Cowboys. All right. We're talking about Michael Parsons and the contract and Jerry Jones playing hardball with Michael Parsons. All right. Is he just playing hardball because that's what Jerry Jones likes to do? Will they pay Michael Parsons? I would hope so, because if they don't, then I'm pretty sure the Saints' money going to be right in 2026. And, that new 3-4 defense that the Saints got, Michael Parsons would look pretty damn good in that defense. So hopefully they end up paying him, because they don't want this guy to walk. All right. That's available right now. I'm going to go ahead and put that link inside of the comments. And you check out previous episodes, man. We got some more episodes underway going into the 2025 season. We're going to have guests on the show. And we're going to start doing live streams after primetime games, man. So y'all make sure that y'all subscribe to that channel. I want that channel to grow. And I want y'all to tell me what you think, let me know. Keep your boy honest, all right? You can also follow me on X at TJAYJones8, and follow the State of the NFL on X as well at State of the NFL. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I got to say is, who dat?